said, what's in your hand?
We're good. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start tonight with an invocation given by Pastor Martlin Height from the Kingsburg Covenant Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
If you don't mind, City Council, I know you don't get paid enough. And I thought I'd give you $1 million. If you know your money, there's not $1 million. It's not counted. But it has on the back the $1 million question.
That's the $1 million question.
So have fun with that. Pass it on. That's from our outreach coordinator at our church. But City Council, you stand in a position that it's really all authority comes from God, and then God gives that authority to leaders to deal rightly with the people, to do justly, to love mercy, and to give vision. And so thank you for doing that, and want to join together, looking to the Lord as you begin your meeting. Lord, thank you for your love and your care. Thank you for Kingsburg. Lord, there's something special here. And Lord, I just pray for the City Council tonight as they meet lots of different parts of what they're working on and what they're doing, how they're leading the people of this city and surrounding area. And Lord, would you give them wisdom, give them insight and understanding. Lord, when they get to those difficult decisions, give them something extra where they know it comes from not just their own ability and their own insight and knowledge, but Lord, that it would come from you and they would know that and have confidence. And then, Lord, that you would keep them united. Yes, bring lots of diversity and lots of different perspectives, but then to have a unity to where they can stand together. I had somebody in my office today said, yeah, our house is divided, and we know that we will not stand. And, Lord, we only stand together. So bring this group together tonight. Thank you for everyone else who has come to participate. And, Lord, the results of this meeting and of the work of this council, Lord, may it bring you honor and glory. May you get all the credit for it. And we just thank you that we get to be in a place like this, be together this evening. And so we count on you to be here with your presence, your power, your peace, your perspective. We love you and thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can you do the roll call, please?
Councilmember Silva?
Present.
Councilmember Palmer?
Here.
Councilmember Norrie?
Here.
Councilmember Smith?
Here.
Mayor Purcell Jr.?
Finally here. Thank you. Item 2 is to approve the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I'll make that motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, presentation. Introduction and swearing in of the interim fire chief, John Banaski, sponsors the city manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of council, if we could have Mr. Banaski please come forward. I am pleased to introduce this evening John Banaski as the interim fire chief of the Kingsburg Fire Department. Interim Chief Banaski officially began his duties for Kingsburg on Monday, March 18th of this year. Mr. Banaski enjoyed a 33-year career in the fire service, beginning in 1990 with Orange County Fire. He has served with several departments in California, including notably Kingsburg from 1994 to 2002. His most recent service includes the city of Clovis, California, where he retired in 2023 after serving 7 years as fire chief. He is a credentialed chief fire officer with the Center for Public Safety Excellence and carries several certificates from California State Fire Training, including Master Instructor, Fire Chief, Fire Investigator, and Marshal. He earned his master's degree of science, emergency services administration from Long Beach State, his bachelor's degree of science, fire administration and fire prevention from Cogswell Polytechnical College, and associate's degree of science, fire science technologies from Saddleback Community College. Chief Banasky's fire service career includes significant experience in management and fire prevention, operations, human resources, finance, and fleet. He has presented, he has presented at several state and national conferences and served on numerous boards for multiple state associations. He has experience in both combination and career departments and has demonstrated a record of professionalism with a commitment to excellence. He has served on several local and state agencies, including as executive board member and past president of the League of California Cities Fire Chief Department, president of the California Central California Fire Chiefs, legislative director and past northern director of Cal Chiefs, and chair of the California State Education and Training Committee. In 2021, he was named California Fire Chief of the Year by the California Fire Chiefs Association. Please help me welcome John Banasky back to the Kingsburg Fire Department. And Madam Clerk, if you would please administer the oath.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me.
I, John Banasky,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I'll take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter. I thought I did much better. I've given it to like 40 people. Well, thank you very much. Again, I just want to say thank you for the warm welcome. Thanks for the city manager giving me this wonderful opportunity, and I will do the best I possibly can while I'm here. And the one thing you'll see is my goal is to just give you the information. You guys get direction back to me, and then my job is to implement it. So I'm not much for long presentations or anything like that. My apologies that my lovely wife could not be here today. I put her on a plane to go to a bridal shower in Illinois, and it's snowing there, and she wasn't the most happiest when I put her on the plane to go there. And my two other children are 22 and 18, and they're both at college, so I have additional time to put forth to the efforts of budget and other things to do for the department since I'm bachelor padding it for the next 5 days. So again, I've just, it's been wonderful, the memories, and just the one thing I'll share is I don't even think it was more than the first day that I was here, and I saw 3 people as I walked back and forth from City Hall to the fire department who said, all asked me, what are you doing here? Why are you back? Here I am. So at least the town is still small. It's got wonderful charm, and I was sad when I left, but I wanted to go somewhere bigger, and it led me to bigger career opportunities is why I left at the time, but it's always been a heartfelt place. It's a place that really built my career on opportunities that I got to speak in front of city council as a young firefighter and things I got to do. I wouldn't be where I was today if it wasn't for taking a risk and coming to the small city of Kingsburg, sleeping in a trailer in the back of the fire station and the way things were, but it's come a long way. So I'm proud to be back, and I will do the best possible job to serve the city council and the citizens of Kingsburg. So thank you.
Council. Any words from council?
I think it was meant for you since you were out of town. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Very impressive resume. I think we're very lucky to have you. Thank you. Appreciate you helping us kind of bridge this gap until we get someone permanent. But thank you very much.
So thank you again for the opportunity. So it took a lot of work for the resume, but at the end of the day, it's just a great job to be in the fire service and meet people who matter and care. And that's really what it's about.
Well, thank you and welcome.
Yeah, welcome back to Kingsburg.
Absolutely. Proud to be here.
Okay, item 4, public comments. This time is for any citizen to come forward and address the city council on any issue within our jurisdiction that is not listed on the agenda. There's a maximum of 5 minutes allowed per speaker. At this time, do we have any member of the public that would like to come forward? Welcome, come on up. When you come up, even if we know you or not, we kind of ask that you state your name and whether or not you're a resident of Kingsburg.
My name is John Wright. I'm a resident currently living at 1600 Union Street. Actually, been living for 35 years in Kingsburg, just, I guess, north of the park. The reason I'm here is I ran across a program in my past occupation that is a free government program that I would like to make the council aware of that they might like to take advantage of. And the goal is to get the city of Kingsburg registered for communication and priority communication services provided by FEMA and the Department of Homeland Security that allows them to take priority telephone calls and be able to complete those in a disaster. February 2024, a number of AT&T cell phones went nuts, like a better term. They rated about 45% of the network was down for AT&T and AT&T FirstNet. The response from AT&T to the San Francisco Fire Department EMS was find a payphone or a landline. Do we know where our payphones are in town that are working, would be the question. And how would you find a landline? My mind automatically goes to any elderly relatives I might have that might still have one of those things in their home. AT&T has reported that the cause of that February outage was a software update issue. Being limited to one cell provider, it was a minor outage, unless it happened to be you. Sunspots, terrorist attacks, large regional power outages, natural disasters could affect multiple providers and also additional customers. Earlier this year, Texas Panhandle had a little bit of a fire, which was the largest one in Texas history. It jumped to also other states. Residents were being told to remain in their home due to all the roads and all the infrastructure was basically toast. The fires caused problems with power, communication lines, cell towers. Residents couldn't call out to EMS and were having problems, and EMS was having problems relaying status to all those individuals. The Department of Homeland Security has created 3 free services that is managed by the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, again, government alphabet soup, but CISA, that provides registered agencies priority access to any remaining telephone, regular landlines, or cell services that are available. So if anything is still working, you get priority over anyone else making calls. The free programs are generally classified as Priority Communication Service, or PTS. Please also note that PTS is not the same as the FCC's AT&T FirstNet product, which a lot of law enforcement have embraced. AT&T FirstNet is a good program which allocates 20% of their cell service to be unused unless it's an emergency. And then all EMS, registered EMS, gets to take that 20% of the cell service and make communications. But that only works if you're in AT&T FirstNet. Once you get outside of the cell service or the tower, you have nowhere to go. You're fighting for resources with everyone else. So this priority service, if you're a registered agency with the cybersecurity agency, you get priority telephone communication services, which they rate about 95% call completion during an emergency, where everyone else is getting 40. I would embrace and encourage the city to look into this program. It's really hard to describe in a 5-minute speech. It's really kind of weird. And the marketing agency for this program is not existent. So no one's really heard about it, unless you happen to be really in the business or stumble across it like I did as we were thinking about our priority technology management at my past employer. So thank you for taking time. Can approach the dais and just give you a couple of handouts.
I was going to ask you for that. We got those at COG.
And in the back page is the communication and contact information for this program. And Kathy would be more than willing to talk to you. Again, she's training more so than marketing. And I'll just So again, they don't market real well.
Okay.
So please look at this. Also, any of the agencies you have, I made 3 pictures. Yeah, hello. I made 3 presentations with COG in February about this program, and they're aware of it as much as whoever participated in those discussions.
Okay, and I did get your letter from COG, and I did look at it. We are in discussions about this communication program, so I know we can't really go back and forth too much, and I know we're out of time, but I did want to let you know that
Great.
your letters meant something, so thank you for those.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Is it a little different being there than up here?
It is. But for some reason, I'm more nervous here than I was. It just doesn't understand. But again, great people to work with. The meetings kind of suck, but it was a great time back in the 90s, 2000s.
Well, we appreciate you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to come forward for public comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comments. Next item is consent calendar. These items are considered routine in nature and to be placed on the consent calendar. Each item will be considered as one item and voted upon in one vote unless individual consideration is requested. Each vote in favor of the consent calendar is considered and recorded as a separate affirmative vote in favor of each action listed. Approval of the consent calendar items include recitals, reading ordinances by titles, only if adoption of recommended actions contained in staff reports. Do we have any members from council that would like to pull any consent items? No. Do we have any members of the public or staff that would like to pull any items from consent? If not, I will entertain a motion for the consent calendar.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And we will now move on to our regular calendar. Item 6.1, the proposed sale of real estate exempt surplus land. Staff report by Public Works Director Daniel Galvez. Welcome.
Hey, good evening, Mayor. Welcome back, and rest of council. Here today to ask council to authorize the city manager to execute the purchase of a sale of a surplus agreement. The property is located on 18th Avenue at Mendocino, 14137 Mendocino. It is an item that we previously brought forth to have you guys declare it as surplus. It did go through the process through the Housing and Community Development, so we had to submit that resolution for them to review. It had to meet certain criteria. The land had to be less than 500 square feet. You can't build anything with it. It's a very small area, so we've been in communication with both of the property owners, both to the north and south of the property. We've kind of gone back and forth a couple of times of how they wanted to split the property. They finally have agreed to split it east to west, and also have agreed on the improvements that we've required, which we've included in the packet, adding fencing, removing a drain. And so they're in agreement and ready to kind of move forward with this project. So, like I said, happy to answer any questions or related to the item there. So.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any public comment about this item? Council discussion?
Daniel, I have a question. I know that's in my area. I know that one of the property owners had reached out to me probably like a year ago because there was like a dispute over who should get that property. They're both in agreement with this plan?
They are both in agreement, yeah. We've been in conversation probably close to a year in regards to how they were going to split it and who was going to get it. And we've talked about the improvements and the bond that's get put up and the timeline of when the improvements can get done. So I think we're finally at a place to get this completed and off of our plate. So
thank you for working with them.
yeah, no problem.
I have a question, Daniel. On the improvements, I see here it's a $2,000 bond to ensure completion. If they don't complete, whatever the improvements, do they just lose their money? Or
no. So essentially, what we would do is we don't want to maintain that property. I mean, we recently just went out there and mowed and treated it for weeds because they were extremely overgrown again. So what we would do is just finish the improvements with the bond that they put up, which is requiring a new joint fence on there, and then give back any remaining balance.
So that no matter what, they keep the land, okay.
Yeah, we want to make sure they get it done and get it off our plate. So
All right, thank you.
The drain has stopped the flooding that was occurring previously?
the drain has not been moved, but actually right before I came to this meeting, I actually met with one of the property owners to discuss her drainage issues and where she should relocate or possibly relocate one of her drains. So.
Any other council discussion? Okay, the recommended action is to authorize the city manager to execute the purchase of the sale agreements, correct? Entertain motions for that.
I'll make that motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item 6.2, SKF sanitation rate study and budget discussion. Staff report by City Manager Alex Henderson.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of council, this is an informational item related to some proposed action by the SKF Sanitation District that I just wanted to bring to your attention and the community's attention and provide some background on their operations and do my best to answer any questions that the council or public may have. On March 14th, 2024, the Selma Kingsburg Fowler County Sanitation District held a joint meeting of the Policy Advisory Committee, which consists of each of the jurisdiction's city managers and the district board of directors, which includes representatives from the 3 cities, and 2 board of supervisors members, which include Buddy Mendez and Nathan Magsig. During the joint meeting, a presentation was provided regarding a district rate study and potential Proposition 218 process. Council will recall a similar process was undertaken when the city examined solid waste rates. The district last conducted a rate study and enacted new rates in 2017, and state law prohibits any rate changes beyond a 5-year period, and so they are going through that process again. Again, as an informational item, staff will provide an update on how the rate structure study may impact Kingsburg residents and answer questions about district operations. The rate study is currently under consideration by the SKF Board of Directors and is anticipated to be voted upon in May with final budget approval in June. And Abby, can I just see see that? So they have a presentation that I will go through. It's not my presentation, but I attended the meeting and can just provide a little bit of background and then do my best to answer questions. So again, the purpose for their rate study is just to ensure accurate, enough revenue to cover both their operating and capital expenditures. Some assumptions that they included, and this information was provided by the city. So just growth assumptions for each of the communities over the 5-year period are listed there. And then some general factors that they considered with regards to building out their rate structure included their employee salary benefits, overall utility costs, and then capital projects planned for the next 5 years. One of the things that does drive the rates for all users is the district's reserve policies. So they do have a 50% of their annual O&M as well as 100% of their 5-year average CIP, both for the district and for each of the communities. So this is a little bit higher, I guess, than most city jurisdictions, and we have had conversations about this general policy and how it has an impact on ratepayers. But this is the existing district reserve policy that does factor into the rates. So you can just take a little bit here. I'm not going to dig too much into these. I'll get more into the rates themselves. This is just a breakdown of the actual district's operation and maintenance expenses over the next 5 years and sort of the division of their work at the plant. Their overall financial plan as it relates to expenses, capital projects, debt service, and then proposed revenue over the next 5 years. The capital financial plan is related to the district, and so one of the things that's kind of interesting about the way that SKF is structured is each of the member cities actually owns the sanitary sewer pipe that is within the city boundaries. but we essentially contract with SKF to maintain those pipes, right? So we don't have any city employees that have to go out there. If there is a call for sewer, it might go to Public Works. Daniel will go out there, but then there's a 24-hour number that we would call, and SKF employees will come out and respond to. And then there are district facilities, so larger pipes that all of the smaller city pipes essentially drain to, and then head out to the plant. And then there's their actual, the actual plant facility itself, which treats the effluent that's collected from the three communities. So when we get into the numbers here, it's important just to kind of remember that, because there is a breakout of how everyone's bill, which for us comes on our tax bill, is made up. And so that includes both capital projects, district operations and maintenance annual things, and then district capital projects, and then city capital projects. And I'll try and break that out, but certainly happy to answer questions. So again, they're just looking at their revenue and debt coverage over the next 5 years for the actual district, and then their ending balances for both operations and maintenance, and then their refurbishment and replacement, which you'll see referred to as R&R over the next 5 years. So if we get into the rates, you can kind of see how the rate structure here is calculated. For most folks, it's their residential rate. Everyone in Kingsburg, if you're residential, if you own a home, you pay the same amount. It's not different. If you're commercial or industrial, it depends a little bit upon what your usage is in terms of how much you pay for your actual annual service charge. So just getting into the rates right now. So this is just for operations and maintenance. So this is a portion of the bill that everyone pays. This amount is the same across the three cities. This $372.43. ESFR means equivalent single-family residence. So again, every it doesn't matter how many times how much water you use, how much you flush your toilet. If you have a single-family house, doesn't matter how large your house is. This is the same amount that everyone pays, both in Kingsburg, Selma, and in Fowler. These are the rates that they charge for industrial flows. So again, just depends upon your type of use. So just for an example, Sunmade is a very large user because of the type of things that they send to sanitary to the district in order to be treated. And then the refurbishment and replacement charge, again, for industrial, again, same, this is their rate structure. So this is another charge that everyone is charged the exact same amount for throughout the three communities. So again, this is added on top of that previous amount. So again, $87.07 per equivalent square single-family residential. This particular amount goes towards the district's refurbishment and replacement. So anything that has to happen on district lines or at the actual plant itself that is more capital in nature, this is what this fund goes to pay for. So you can kind of see here, and I will show you sort of the total cost, or what it will cost for a Kingsburg resident in a couple of slides here. But you can see what their proposed rate is right now, just for the O&M charge, which is at that 372 rate, and then you can see the increase across the fiscal year 2029. And then you get into a little bit of the city's refurbishment and replacement charge. So you'll see here, Kingsburg is the lowest, and with Fowler and then Selma. There are different reasons for this. Most of it has to do with needs of the community, size of the communities, age of system. So again, this is for the pipes that are within the individual jurisdictions. So again, our employees don't maintain them; they are maintained by SKF, but our citizens do pay for their maintenance and upkeep. So whether they're doing CCTVing or cleaning, or if there is an actual capital project that has to be done, this is the fund that collects it. So for the most part, unless there was a project that was promoting development or that the cities wanted to implement, this is the fund that will pay for that, so we're never really having to come out of pocket for sewer costs. So I'm not going to go through Selma's. I don't quite know enough about it, but you can see Kingsburg's here, the capital financing plan. Again, this is just all through rates. The district has a policy for the most part to do sort of a pay-as-you-go. So they have proposed capital projects over the next 5 years. This kind of shows what that looks like through that term. And then what the ending balances are, so you can kind of see at the top there where we're at. It's currently at $40, so they're proposed to go to $48. By the end of this, it would be $80 for a Kingsburg resident. And you can see that they're planning to use those increases to perform capital projects, and then ultimately they will spend down a portion of that balance towards the end of 2029. I'll pass through Fowler as well. So again, if you're just looking at just that portion of that R&R rate for Kingsburg, right now it's at $40, projected to go to $80 by the end of 2029. You can see how that compares with both Fowler and Selma, and again, just kind of depends upon what those individual communities require for their capital projects, and there's some coordination there between the district and those individual communities. Different communities have different goals as it relates to growth, and what they would like to see done. This is a summary, but I think probably more appropriate here if you just get to the total rate. So you'll see kind of a monthly, what is a monthly breakdown for Kingsburg right now, kind of in the bottom right here. This number here is the total monthly amount. Now we don't pay monthly. Again, we pay through property taxes. So you're either you're doing that twice a year or once a year, depending upon your preference. And then the total amount at the end of year 5. And then this is sort of the total all-in number. So if you're looking at Kingsburg right now versus what it will be in 2029, these are the proposed rates for an annual amount. And then they've done sort of a survey of what residential rates look like on a monthly basis just in the surrounding area. So right now Kingsburg is sort of in the median here. And if this is the proposed rates for where it would go to in 2025 if the rates go through. So that concludes their presentation, of which I've summarized, but I'm certainly happy to try to answer any questions. And again, they will have to go through, if the board moves forward with it, they will have to go forward with a Prop 218 process. So every resident in Kingsburg will get that Prop 218 in the mail, similar to what we did with the waste rates a little over a year ago. So that concludes my report, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Do we have any members from the public that would like to comment on this? Okay, we'll bring it back to council for council discussion.
I just have a comment. During that joint meeting, I'm on the board of SKF, so I did bring up the district reserve policy, the percentages, because that does affect the rate. And the question I asked was, is that the same reserve policy that from 2017? And it was. So they didn't up it. I wanted to make sure. So that is the same reserve policy from 2017.
I guess the question for me would be, is that the same reserve policy that other districts abide by? I mean, I don't know if we have that answer, but it'd be interesting to see if that's contributing to increased rates. What do other districts do? They do 50% holdback, or?
It's a good question, and I'm guessing it probably depends upon the individual district. I can reach out to SKF to see if they know that particular answer. From a municipality standpoint, often 20% is a pretty is normal standard, but certainly there are probably some municipalities that have higher or lower. So there's some larger cities that can't meet that 20%, so they just their policy then is lower, right? Because they know it's not a realistic number. So I'm happy to follow up and see if they have any of that information. Report back.
Thank you, Alex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that SKF, that's an incredibly important partnership that I don't think a lot of people appreciate. So thanks, Vince, for sitting on that. I think it's going to get a little bit more time consuming for you with them having to go through these Prop 218 processes, but thank you for doing that. And I just think that, you know, as a city, what people may not understand is our other option is to come up with $75 million for our own plant, and I don't think that's going to happen. So just thankful for that partnership. So thank you guys for working on that. I think that's informational only, so no action is needed on that. Was there anything else from staff on that?
No, that's
Okay.
all.
Then we'll move on to item 7, the council reports and staff communications. Item 7.1, Community Services Commission.
We met the other day and we received an update on some of the projects that we're working on. The dog park is targeted for completion in the fall of 2024. The senior center kitchen remodel is going to begin in April, and the pour and play at some of the parks is going to be done over the summer.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee.
We have not met since our last meeting.
7.3, Chamber of Commerce.
We meet on Tuesday.
7.4, Economic Development.
We have not met.
7.5, Finance Committee.
We met the other day and we discussed the broadband lease. That'll be coming before council and, I don't know, sometime soon.
7.6, the Planning Commission.
Have not met.
7.7, SKGSA.
Have not met.
7.8, Downtown Business Improvement District.
We met yesterday, and they had several different things on their agenda. One was looking at the social media presence of Oat and Oak, Quinn. I think you see him everywhere in town. And the difference that that has made. They hired a social media, and I don't know if hired is the right word, social media influencer, enticed them to come to town with free things. And they did a story that Abby had mentioned. She saw a lot of tourists in town since then that have seen the story. It was like 400,000 views on it. So you might have seen it on the downtown Kingsburg Instagram. And they're talking about increasing that budget so that there's more activity going on with Oat and Oak on social media. The second big thing that we're talking about, and Abby's going to pull up a picture, is they're looking at the trash cans that we have downtown that were graciously donated many years ago, but are not maintained anymore. The family that donated them is no longer able to maintain them, so they're looking at replacing all of the trash cans downtown with part of their budget. This is what they are looking at. I think they talked to Daniel about possibly getting a rain hood on top of it. So they're getting a quote on that. They're looking at 30 trash cans for downtown. They're wanting to work with Public Works on removal of the old ones and possible installation of the new ones. That may come to us at some point. They went through looking at many different ones, including ones that had like spots where you could put signs. But we had a discussion on that and decided that trash cans need to not be a focal point from the beauty of downtown. So we're not going to do signs. We're going to do the blue. And they're also filling out a micro grant from the city to see about like some matching funds, I think up to $15,000 to get those taken care of downtown. And I think that was it. Is that it?
It's a lot, thank you. 7.9, Council of Governments. We met Thursday with the Rural Transit Authority. I'd say the only thing that really came out of it specific to Kingsburg is the Highway 99 congestion corridor. I'm not sure what we call it now. From the Selma area, it's still going to be a while, all through summer. Nothing else to report on that. 7:10, council member reports.
I have something that I forgot to mention at the last meeting. A month ago, Abby and I hosted the Girl Scouts here for a little mock city council meeting. It's really fun to do if you ever get the opportunity with the school district or other service organizations. And Abby has it like all down to a T with PowerPoint. so it's easy to do. And they get to pick topics. And so I promised those girls that I would tell you what their topic was. They had many different ones, many different ideas, including like TNR, water parks, like all of these great ideas. But they decided that the most important thing that they wanted to discuss was having inclusive spaces for our special needs kids in Kingsburg. And so they talked about it, they came up with a plan, and they said that what they would like is to have an all-inclusive park that all kids in Kingsburg could access and enjoy with their families. And so I told them that I was committed to make sure that happens at some point for them. So I'm gonna probably be working on that and trying to figure out what we can maybe do as a city. So I told them you'd listen to their voice.
That's great. Other councilman reports?
I just had one little fun fact in recognition to a student at Kingsburg High School. So those of you that are familiar, the FFA, which is the Future Farmers of America, that organization has over 100,000 members in the state of California. And Camille Zavala, which is a Kingsburg FFA student member, is now the state of California 2024-25 FFA president. So I thought that was pretty awesome for someone from Kingsburg to be representing the whole entire state as the president in a huge organization. And so I just wanted to give a little recognition to her, and that's all I had.
I have a couple. Was it last Thursday night? Went to the Chichico's grand opening, and it was good. Turns out the manager there, I've known him since he was a lot younger, from the 1990s. He's the nephew of Romero Perez Chica, the coach that I used to coach with at Kingsburg High back in the 90s and early 2000s. So David, he'll do a good job there at Chichico's, and the food was good. So I think they're going to do very well there at Chichico's. And then on March 26th, the SKF board, we had a joint meeting with the City of Selma, City Council. And so the agenda was overview of Selma development projects, overview of SKS operations, discussion of ways to develop better future communications between SKF and Selma, SKF rate study and resolution approving the Prop 218 process, SKF CCTV process, and then methodology of CIP. So I think it was a good meeting. I believe Selma their city council is now, and more informed on how SKF works. And like Brandon was saying, a lot of the citizens and councils don't realize how important it is for our cities, for SKF, what they do. And Selma wants to, expand. They want to develop more homes. So they had said that in that meeting, their plan is like 2,000 to 4,000 homes in the next 5 to 10 years. And I believe that their city council and their city manager was under the impression that, from what I get from the meeting, that new development SKF provides the sewer lines. Well, that's not how it works. That's not part of CIP for SKF. That falls on the developer or the city. So I think Selma, didn't realize that, because some of the comments from their council members were, well, we can't get things done. We can't get things done here in Selma because of SKF. Well, it's not because of SKF, So, anyways, it was a good meeting. So, like I said, they're more informed. They also had concerns on the CCTV process, and I think we got that resolved with Selma. SKF's going to come up with maybe a schedule of how, of when they're going to go out and put cameras in those lines, some lines and stuff. So I know the council was happy to hear about that in Selma. So anyways, it was a good meeting, and I'm glad Selma's more informed now in SKF. So Just want to let you guys know about that.
All I have is glad to be back. Was able to spend some time in DC with some of our members of Congress talking about Kingsburg. We had some good conversations about our priorities and their priorities, and I do think there is some overlap in things that we both want to see, which could be beneficial. So thank you, Mr. Costa, Mr. Duarte, for meeting with me when I was there. But more importantly, I wanted to just take a minute to thank the council for helping cover things while I was gone, specifically my pro tem. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you guys very much. Alex did a great job while I was gone, kind of staying in contact from thousands of miles away, different time zones. So I just want to pass on my thanks to everybody while I was gone. Item 711, City Manager's Report.
Well, first, congratulations on your graduation from 10-week academy. It's impressive. A couple of quick items. We continue to work with Selma on the animal services agreement. So we did get some draft language from them about 10 days ago, and Mike got his comments back this week. And so I think we're planning to sit down with them next week to try and finalize some of those details as a part of our upcoming budget discussions. But they are continuing to provide services for us, but we're just trying to work on a longer-term deal as they take over that process. We are continuing with our housing element update. We have submitted our second draft. So we submitted our first draft. We got comments from HCD. We responded to those comments, and so now it is back in review. I think there's one community now. I think San Joaquin actually has theirs formally adopted or accepted by their city council. But we do continue to work through that. And then finally, the Draper Street Waterline project, we're hopefully going to get started on April 15th. That work will be entirely at night, so we'll minimize any disruptions. So businesses should not be impacted during the day. Parking will remain open. No impacts to the car show or things like that. But we're finalizing some of those timelines so that we can adequately inform all of the businesses and property owners on Draper Street, give them a sense. They're gonna go block by block, so we can give them a sense of when their block will be impacted. But again, happening from about 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. and hopefully minimal impacts as much as possible. That work is being done to improve fire flows on Draper Street and just replace some old undersized water mains as our need grows in the downtown. So that concludes my report.
Thank you. Item 8's future agenda items we have listed as none. Item 9, we are going to be adjourning into closed session for a conference regarding labor negotiations.
Chris.